How did jazz standards define 1950s music? Imagine a time when music was transforming rapidly, blending new styles and sounds. The 1950s was a decade of musical change, and jazz standards played a big part in shaping that era. These were songs that everyone in the jazz world knew and played, but they also crossed over into pop culture. During this time, jazz was moving from the fast, complex bebop style of the 1940s into new directions like cool jazz, hard bop, and modal jazz. Jazz standards served as the foundation for all these styles. In the early 1950s, jazz standards reflected a shift from bebop's fast-paced, intricate melodies to a smoother, more relaxed sound called cool jazz. Miles Davis was a key figure in this change. His Birth of the Cool sessions introduced a softer, more laid-back style that became a symbol of the decade. Cool jazz often came from the West Coast and mixed influences from white swing musicians and black bebop artists. This blending showed how diverse and experimental jazz was becoming. At the same time, hard bop grew in popularity. It was a more soulful style that drew heavily from blues, gospel, and rhythm and blues. Musicians like Art Blakey and Clifford Brown helped define this sound. Hard bop kept jazz connected to its African American roots and urban sounds, making it more accessible and emotionally expressive. By the late 1950s, modal jazz emerged. This style focused on musical modes instead of traditional chord progressions. Miles Davis's album, Kind of Blue, released in 1959, is a perfect example. It featured standards like So What and All Blues, which used modal techniques. This approach gave musicians more freedom to improvise and created a new way of playing jazz. Jazz standards also became cultural symbols. Some crossed into mainstream music, with artists like Nat King Cole making jazz tunes popular on the pop charts. This crossover kept jazz in the spotlight even as rock and roll started to take over. The standards also influenced other genres, like bossa nova, which combined Brazilian samba rhythms with jazz harmonies. This shows how jazz standards of the 1950s helped set the stage for global musical fusion. In the end, jazz standards defined the 1950s by capturing the shifts from bebop to cool jazz, hard bop, and modal jazz. They became shared songs that musicians could interpret in new ways and connect with audiences. These standards helped jazz stay lively and relevant, making the decade a time of creative exploration and cultural change. Their legacy still echoes today, reminding us of a time when music was full of innovation and style.